Snellies here, and we're going to go over the A-10C cold start. Now, as you can see, I already have munitions loaded, but when you start most multiplayer servers, you'll start out empty. So right off the bat, we're going to hit left alt and apostrophe and bring out your loadout menu. So you can just pick a pre-made loadout or make one of your own. It'll display your maximum weight and what your current weight is based off your loadout selected. So I'm not gonna go through that. But as they're doing their loadout, the farthest you can get until they're finished is the APU start. Otherwise, when you start the main turbines on the engine, you interrupt the rearm process or refueling. So right off the bat, I like to close the cockpit. Don't really like listening to the APU when it starts up because it's kind of loud. So I don't really do things by the book on the checklist. So if you get in the habit of doing it the way I do it, it will be one of the faster ways to get started up. I will kind of slow things down to try to explain what things do. So right off the bat, you want to look down here at your CDU, which I'm having head track issues. You want to look down here at your CDU. This is like your main brain in the computer. It handles all systems of the A-10, your GPS, your avionics, everything. So this, when it first starts up, will be getting an alignment for your GPS, which is the most time-consuming part to the startup. So just to make sure we don't forget to start it and slow us down, I always start with that right there, turning it on. Then I kind of do a left to right pattern just to get everything on. So put my flaps in the takeoff position. Go ahead and turn on all my radios. You want to put this your VHF AM on transmit and receive TR. Same thing for your VHF FM radio, and your UHF you'll put on main. Turn the APU start on. Then we'll engage our fuel pumps, our boost pumps for the left and right wings, and our boost pumps for the left and right main. Then we'll come over here and turn our KICU on. The KICU supplies power and data to your MFDs. Your JTRS on. That is the data linking system. That's how you share your speeds and see other aircraft on your TAD on your MFD. Your IFFC, it's a 3-position switch, and we'll put it in test. We'll go ahead and put our taxi lights on, although we don't have power to the aircraft yet, so they're not actually lit. Then I'll right click the knob here and put it in day mode for the MFD, same thing for this one. Then I'll go ahead and toggle my countermeasure system, and then I'll do my APU generator, my inverter, the AC generator left and right, and battery power. Now the battery power obviously turns on the battery. It's just like a hard disconnect from all the systems. The inverter inverts the battery power from DC to AC. Once the APU gets spun up enough off of these two gauges here, the APU generator will start to draw power from it, so you're not draining your batteries anymore. The AC generators left and right are the same thing as the APU generator, but for your main engines. So once they start getting spooled up, you start drawing power off of them. Now you see down here we have all these lights lit up. That's your warning light panel. And so you can use this to pretty much help you troubleshoot your startup to see if you forgot something. Right off the bat we see seat not armed. That's talking about your ejection seat system right there. Flip that down, ejection seat controls armed. Then we have our pitch and yaw SAS. Now those we can't turn on until we get the power supplied to the aircraft. Right here is yaw SAS and pitch SAS. Once we get those on, we want to zero out our trim for takeoff. It's this little button right here. As we hit it, you see that right there, it lights up. Just want to verify that that lights up, hit it a few times. Then we'll get our anti-skid. And since we're starting up, we want to go ahead and get our lights going for anti-collision. So the default key for the panel lights is left control and P. When we do that, it's actually a pinky switch. It allows us to set the lights based off the panel positions of the switch. So I'm going to put my lights to flash and anti-collision on. So now you see lights are flashing, they're on. Now the APU's already started up. I would be sitting here like this waiting for the rearming and refueling to complete. We'll go ahead and say that they let us know. So we'll then start our left and right engines. The book says to do it one at a time, but if you watch the gauges here, the system automatically does one at a time anyway. See it spinning? The other one's on standby. And then we're going to uncage our secondary HSI. That's what that red flag means. It means it's caged. And the DTS upload page here, if you ever get a message like this, you can hit acknowledge right there and it'll clear it off. You want to wait to hit the load all until they finish rearming. You hear that little caution going off. That's because the engines are spooling up and the APU generator is going. That's normal. Also, now that the HUD has power and we're in the test mode on the IFFCC switch, we will hit enter on the upfront controller here to engage pre-flight bit test. It'll check for errors. But since we're done rearming and refueling, we'll go ahead and hit load all. Now you see all those dots on the side went away. Here in a few seconds they'll come back. That means the upload is complete. You'll have a few warnings and stuff go off with this pre-flight bit test, like warning and pull up and stuff like that. It's normal.
Pull up, pull up.
Alright, that's finished. There's those warnings I was talking about.
Altitude, altitude.
Now, first page I'm going to do is DSMS. I'm going to verify that all my stores are there. Once that's done, I'll go ahead and clear, or, go to a different page on the right MFD. Sometimes you can load it too early and all the weapons won't be there, so if you can hit load all again on this side and it'll reload it. So we'll go to CDU so it displays our CDU down here on this MFD. Now a lot of people have this mistake of seeing this INS NAV RDY. Now just because it's showing doesn't mean it's actually finished. This T number here, the 3816, is part of the acquiring the satellites. Now when it gets to 4008, INS NAV RDY will start flashing right there on cue. So then that's when we're ready to engage our navigation mode. Right there. You can also hit the LSK button down here for nav. So now we have a good GPS sync, and that's really important if you're carrying GPS guided munitions like your GBU 31s or 38s or CBU 103 and 105s. Also, you see on your HUD here the bit test is complete. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put our IFFCC switch to the top. And there's your HUD. Now it seems like everything else is started up. You'll see a few warning lights left there. It's GCAS, EAC, and APU generator. So we'll turn off our APU generator and we'll turn off our APU because we don't want that running if we ever go to 20,000 feet or above. And then your GCAS EAC is a part of your LACE system down here. Now I have a hard time seeing them even when I lean back with my head tracker, so what I like to do is hold my wheel brake, the default key is W, and throttle up. See, I hold my wheel brake so I don't shoot out into taxiway here. And the GCAS button is this button here on the right, and EAC is right here. Now you see how it won't stay up? If you look right here, but in front of the stick, we currently have the HARS mode selected, and we want to be in EGI that uses the GPS system. So now, throttle up again. Why? EAC is on. Now the only thing really left to do is hit insert your nose wheel steering button. You see it says steering engaged. So now when you turn your rudder, your nose wheel will steer with your rudder. And the last thing to do is to zero out your altimeter. You notice when I got permission to start up, they told me the wind and everything. Well, when you request permission to take off, they'll give you a QFE, and it will actually be those 4 numbers. That's actually what I'm adjusting when I zero this out. It's my QFE. So it's probably going to be 28.82. And then we'll want a radio tower and request permission to taxi. Now, by default, the air traffic control is not in your radio, so you have to program your radio. So there's multiple ways to check. The easiest way to check the airfield frequency, if you don't need any ILS info or anything, is to hit F10. I know that we're at Minvodi, so click the little airport icon there, and you'll see down here 135.000 megahertz. That's going to be AM. So we're going to look at our handy dandy AM radio down here. We'll go break and move that up. 124.000. So we want to be 135. And then the default radio key is left alt and plus for the AM radio. Hit up here, you'll see this little window pops up, VHF AM. F5 for air traffic control. We're at Minvodi. It normally orders these by the nearest airport, whether it's friendly or not. So F1 and F1 again for taxi to runway.
Minvodi, Hog 1-1. Request taxi to runway. Hog 1-1. Minvodi, clear to taxi to runway 30.
Alright, so it clears the taxi to runway 30. Now that just happens to be right here on my right. I placed the aircraft so it'll be right here on this end. But one thing to keep in mind is when you're playing online, you'll spawn in the bunkers and stuff on the airfield, so it'll be kind of disorienting to figure out where you're at. Now 30 you'll see is pointing that way. It's 300 degrees heading. The runways are labeled by the direction you would be traveling on the runway. So it seemed that I'd be taking off from this side and going this way, my heading would be 30. So actually the start of the runway is to the right. So if they tell you to go to runway 12, you want to go to the left. You just want to keep going to the left till you get to the end of the runway. And that sums up this tutorial. Hope it helps.